Haha. Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Sunday. I think it's Sunday to each and every one of you. Whoa, holy moly. What an exciting time to be an early adopter in this new asset class that is the digital asset space. Listen, we're going to get into it. Got a lot of stuff from Crypto X that we got to get into for sure. I'm going to go over the market because, it's doing what it does. Then I'm going to pay a little homage, if you will, to CZ and that he built a phenomenal business and is now having to deal with the consequences of the things that he did wrong and or allowed to happen in that hugely successful business. So here it is, guys. This is your XRP Ripple Daily News in around 0 to 10 minutes. So let's get into it. According to CoinGecko, the total cryptocurrency market cap is 2.66 trillion. The Bitcoin dominance is at 50%. The market's ranging, fam. The market is just ranging. Bitcoin is trading at $67,516 again. Ethereum is trading at 3,590, 500, what is that? $3,759 again. Solana is trading at $162 again. And XRP, the beloved, is trading at 51 cents again. The market is just doing what the market does. So this report just came out. I forgot to cover this the other day. Binance ex-CEO begins prison sentence. Binance billionaire founder Changpeng Zhao has reported to a low security federal prison in Lompoc, California. Zhao was sentenced to 4 months. So he's got 4 months there. Turned himself in. And yeah, I don't want to use dying on a sword. I don't think that's the case. But I believe he did a lot for the digital asset space, and he owned up to his stuff and showed up probably when maybe he didn't have to show up to the States. I don't know. But taking it on the chin, doing what's necessary to move forward and allow the digital asset space to move forward. So, yeah, reported to prison on the 31st of May. On the 31st of May. I want to cover a couple of things before I get into some other stuff here. Faryar Shiraz, the president was not served well by his team. He is using this extraordinary veto power to protect a sneaky bureaucrat move by the SEC chair. To hide behind this stuff to destabilize an entire industry of SOB 21, to destabilize an entire industry. If SAB 121 were a formally ratified agency rule, it would be one thing. But for the White House to prepare a veto statement that puts the president in a position of defending the considered views of an agency staff that were never lawfully considered by the commission itself against significant bipartisan majorities in both houses of Congress is a disservice to Joe Biden and the office of the president. Perry and Boring has a little something to say about that. I'll see if I can find that. Yeah, from the Digital Chamber. I like that they changed up that name. President Biden's veto ignores the voices of the American people and the bipartisan support from Congress. The Digital Chamber responds to President Biden's veto of H.J. Res 109. President Biden's veto of a bipartisan resolution on a Friday evening at nearly 7 p.m. unfortunately underscores this administration's stance on digital asset innovation. This decision is a significant misstep for consumers and disregards the voices of the American people, as well as the bipartisan support from Congress. The Digital Chamber will continue to fight this decision, and we want to make it clear, this isn't over. Biden's veto of this SEC's illegal crypto custody regs is not the end of this fight. Congress can override the veto. Together, we will defend our freedom of speech, digital property rights, and our right to assemble. Come November, we will cast out the anti-crypto army once and for all. Well, don't forget about Sherrod Brown, and make sure that dude is done. So that's from the Digital Chamber. This is some interesting stuff here. XRP does this, drop this out for us. And Jack McDonald from Standard Charter, Standard Custody and Trust is talking on stage. So take a listen to what he says here.
In the not too distant future, we started PolySign, the parent company for Standard Custody and Trust, which is a New York qualified custodian. We're days away, hopefully, from closing our transaction, selling Standard Custody and Trust to Ripple, upon which I'll be joining Ripple. I'm quite excited about that.
Can you talk a little bit about what was the strategic importance of that for Ripple? Why was Ripple interested in buying Standard Custody?
Ripple's really evolved from what 10 or 11 years ago was a cross-border payments company to today really more broad-based in terms of tokenization, payments, custody, and in the not too distant future will be stablecoin. And I think in the end have focused on a mission to provide enterprise-based solutions for those institutions who want to tokenize, store, move, and exchange value on blockchains around the world. And so specifically getting a trust company is a very strategic fit for them to do that. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO, announced a number of weeks ago at Paris Blockchain about the intention to launch a stablecoin. I think when you consider Ripple's global payments network, there's a broad global base of financial institutions who increasingly have been using stablecoins as a means of payment and a settlement token for that payment. I think Ripple wants to natively be a part of that.
Huge news.
Yeah, big.
Ripple launching a stablecoin that competes with USDC, Tether, PYUSD.
And I think Ripple rightly views the ecosystem as a rising tide, lifting all ships. And so you don't want to fight that. There's plenty of room for more high quality, liquid stable coins out there. So this is not a winner take all sort of, journey that Ripple's looking to go on. Quite the opposite. I think they're looking to work with the Circles of the world and other issuers to, benefit the industries.
Yeah. So, and that's important to kind of get. I think it's important for people to kind of see the bigger picture. Some people are just lost and stuck in a corner and can't really figure stuff out. But I wanted to share something about market share, because Ripple is going to get into the business of the stablecoin market and compete for market share with the likes of USDC and others, right? And so you look at the top stablecoins for in terms of market cap, according to CoinGecko here, I'll list them out. It's a big space and it's getting bigger. I think it's going to take some time, obviously, for some things to happen. For sure, it's going to take some time. So you got USDC, you got Tether 1, USDC 2, DAI, stablecoin 3. Athena just launched, I don't know, 6 months maybe? 6 months maybe? Now, I will say this, there's a lot of liquidity and a lot of incentive programs going on. They got a very novel model around their stablecoin, but they are number 4. Then First Digital USD is 5, USDD 6, Frax 7, been around for a long, long time. And it's number 7. I don't know what Tether Gold is. True USD, heard of that. I'm not sure if that's the Gemini thing. It may be Pax Gold. They consider that a stablecoin, but I believe it's just right. That's the gold thing. USDDB. And I thought it was interesting that PayPal here is about 19. PayPal's USD already. Again, that has launched rather recently as well. $396 million in terms of its market cap. It's on 22 exchanges, according to CoinGecko. 7 million in volume in the last 24 hours. And this USDB, don't know whose stablecoin it is, but that's 38 million. Like, whose ecosystem is that in? I don't know. And this Alchemist, so there's Gemini dollar there. So who's the true dollar, true USD? I don't remember. You guys let me know in the comments who is the true USD. So Ripple's going to come in and compete for market share. For anyone suggesting that they're going to be immediately number two, I think it's just a little naive. Gonna, open up the doors and now they're number two. I think that's naive. What's going to happen to Tether? I don't know. We'll see. But I tell you what, if Tether ends up not being able to operate in both the US and in that little micro region or in Europe, that's going to be, that market share is going to be available. I do not see the Ripple stablecoin immediately supplanting DAI and becoming the number two stablecoin, but we shall see. I don't see that. I know the XRP entertaining content creators believe that to be the case, but I don't think so. I don't see it, opening its doors and day one or immediately after Tether may not be able to operate in the States and may not be able to operate in Europe. All of a sudden, the Ripple stablecoin falls right behind USDC. I don't see that. I think the ecosystem is not built out enough for that. DAI ecosystem built out. Athena's ecosystem is built out more so an ecosystem, probably than the XRPL. I know they got, a little novel thing with their stable coin. I know they got, and everybody likes to hop on new stuff. So, there's probably some incentives for people using the stable right now. But immediately coming to number two and supplanting DAI, I don't see that, but we shall see. We shall see. Here's something that I find to be fascinating. Crypto Eddie shared this, and it kind of speaks to the bigger picture, I think, and what Ripple is looking to do. Make no mistake about it, Ripple has a plan. That's what I'll question. She put this out here. Shout out to Crypto Eddie. I hope you're doing well, miss. The connection between custody plus tokenization plus stablecoin. She says, I get it now. She says hashtag Ripple 100%. The decoupling between the geo component and payments component. Now, this guy here, I believe, is a dude from PayPal. And he's kind of laying out the things that how he sees PayPal and how he sees the model around stable coins and tokenization and, without giving too much of what PayPal's looking to do. He's sharing some insight, and I think it's hugely important to check this out.
Will be lower, but those 150 billion in stable coins that are out there, I think that we are in the first inning of how this is going to evolve. And maybe we are at the top of the first inning. So I don't think that we should assume that the market is settled. Hopefully we will see trillions in assets under management and stable coins, and the market will benefit.
Trillions in assets under management and stable coins. There's a lot of the stuff that Brad Garlinghouse has been saying, but what Brad realized and Ripple realized that the stablecoin thing is not a done deal, especially when the number one player in that space is having some issues, for sure. And, for me, when I hear comments from the people from Tether saying we don't have to be in the US and Europe, that's alarming. Now, what I mean by alarming is Tether has a hugely profitable model. And for some reason, they don't want to open the doors or open the books or, peel back the curtains to the model. That's what it seems like to me. For whatever the reason is, I don't know. I don't know what that is, but that's what it feels like. They figured out something, a model. And I think that the United States government, by way of, the BlackRocks of the world, want to know about that model because they're leveraging the US dollar, number one, and not abiding, not complying with the regulations that this country wants to impose, right? And for me, I think it's Tether's not wanting to divulge their model, their secret and or strategy for that hugely, what, 4, 5, 6 billion per quarter profit type deal. It's crazy. It's a crazy profit that they got going on there. So, but again, if they end up, not being able to operate in the US and Europe, you have to understand that's a huge thing for them. Now they feel like they can make it up in all those other places. I mean, more power to them, but that's the challenge that I see going on right now. And I think that's what it is. I don't know if it's, they say they have a dollar and they only got 50 cents. I don't know if it's that. I really, really don't. I don't know. But it feels like to me that they don't want to divulge in any way, shape, form, or fashion how it is that they're making that kind of money that they are.
Fit for more entrants and from strong companies that want to have a presence in the market. Most of that volume happens on crypto markets, and a lot of that is institutional trading. And traditionally, the way that issuers have monetized the stablecoins has been through interest on the reserve. So they are fiat backed. So when somebody mints one token, there is a counterparty in fiat that goes into a reserve that is invested into assets. Those assets generates a yield. That's how the issuer has traditionally made money.
Yeah, and that's kind of the MakerDAO ethos is what he's explaining there. But he believes it's going to evolve beyond that and go to another level.
I think that monetization model has been a little bit of an artifact of the interest rate environment today. So if you look 5 years from now, I expect and I hope that interest rates will be lower. But I also think that there will be a lot of what you're seeing that is happening on.
He said that model is a bit of an artifact now. This is why I don't know if you guys watch my videos. I talked about MakerDAO is redoing their model. They're redoing it, coming out with different tokens. They're coming out with a different model. And it's probably because they recognized ahead of time that this, that model is, however effective it is, it's not the best bang for the buck. It's beholden upon what's going to happen from a monetary policy in terms of interest rates, right? And fiscal policy is kind of dependent upon that. In that right market, MakerDAO ethos has been awesome. It's been great. 0%, whatever. When people can't get any kind of yield, the MakerDAO ethos is working.
On the asset management space, we've been talking a lot about payments, but also there's a ton of activity that is happening in the asset managers with BlackRock and Franklin Templeton and Fidelity and others. So I do think that we will see a decoupling between the yield component and the payments component. And I think that probably my vision of the future is if you are the CFO of a large corporation that is engaged in digital currencies and you have extra cash, you will keep that in something that is a tokenized money market fund.
You see this right here? Well, hopefully, if I move the thing, will it show it? It says custody plus tokenized money market fund for yield plus stablecoin payments. This is Ripple right here. This is exactly what Ripple is looking to do. You got to get that next level institutional grade custody, get this thing set up for tokenized money market fund or tokenized whatever, plus stable coin payments. This is what Ripple's looking to do. Now, and we'll see, Brad Garlinghouse, in my opinion, danced around at consensus when asked, how does this benefit the XRP holder? In my opinion, he danced around it. He said, well, it's going to be liquidity. There'll be liquidity, and that helps the XRP out. But that's not what she asked him. She asked him, how does the stablecoin thing benefit XRP holders or benefit XRP? So he danced around it. He, in my opinion, he danced around it. Now I think I'll share it because I got to share some from.
Or similar, and you will get your yield from that point. And then when you want to make a payment, you will convert that tokenized money market fund into tokenized money, which is what a stablecoin is, and then you will send the stablecoin. I do think that a stablecoin is an imperfect instrument for yield. Tokenized money market fund is instead imperfect instrument for payments, and those instruments should be what they are meant to be.
Yep.
And then the stablecoins will not be monetized on yield on the reserve. They will monetize on transaction fees. That's why we were saying, look.
They will monetize in transaction fees. That's the model, right? That's the income. That's the generating of income. And who knows? You Ripple may still use the quote unquote artifact in one revenue stream, and then use this as the transaction fee things as another revenue stream as a business. My Ripple, you remember that? That's a business over there. So it's very, very interesting. This guy points it out big time.
Look, we optimize for things that are specific for payments. We care about KYC on our network. We care about throughput. We care about scalability. And it makes sense when you put all those things together, combined with our unique assets, the capillarity into fiat rails and the consumer base and the user base. We felt compelled to launch our own because we're saying, well, we think that we have a right to play. We have an ability to serve consumers, and
we think we have a right to pay, right to play. And I look, they have a product that everybody's familiar with, and I don't know, probably grandma and grandpa comfortable using. You can't, you can't deny it, right? They got a big user base in a platform that probably grandma and grandpa are comfortable in using. Probably. But I know a lot of us are comfortable in using that, right? And so they look, hey, we got a user base. We got a UI and the UX. We've got a name brand people comfortable with and using with. So we thought we should get into the stablecoin market. So we shall see how it goes. And again, I'll say this again for people who misunderstand this. For every Google, there's going to be a Yahoo and a DuckDuckGo and a pre-search. And in the stablecoin market, we don't know who's going to be the Google yet. We don't know. We don't know who's the Google. Right now, the Google is freaking Tether. And USDC is Yahoo, if you will. But we don't know. It's still early days, like this dude is saying. We're still in the first inning when it comes to the stablecoin thing. I'm going to cover a couple of things here from the supposed adult in the room here. So this says, this is what he says. This is an uncomfortable truth that many in crypto don't realize yet. At this point, the regulators have let most of the scams, think Phoenix Fire token, and tokens with no utility, such as meme coins, run wild. They attack those with real world utility. They've gone after legitimate projects. Ripple, Coinbase, Kraken Exchange. They've gone after legitimate projects, and then allege that there's some improprieties, right? So with no utility, such as meme coins, run wild while they attack those with real utility. And my opinion says the supposed adult in the room, regulators will flip the script. Don't get caught chasing crappy green candles with no utility. The adults have tried to tell you over and over how the story ends. And he's referencing Brad's quote about, I think 99, Brad Garlinghouse's quote about, I think 99% of all crypto goes to zero. By the way, I was listening to Jeff Booth, big time Bitcoiner. I would argue Bitcoin Maxi says the same thing from the Bitcoin perspective. And but he believed 1000% we don't need any other asset but Bitcoin. The adult in the room, the supposed adult in the room goes on to say, pet.coms was awesome until it wasn't. I don't know who this dude is here, but take a listen to what he says, and then I'll continue on.
This is because of bad policy, and I could argue this very effectively because I do it day to day, which is the people building utility are the ones blocked. Okay, like this is what is so incredibly frustrating, is that the people that exactly when you get in trouble is when you add utility according to the current thinking of regulators. Okay, and so you're actually incentivized to do something like a meme coin. By the way, meme coin, I mean one that has absolutely no utility, because people say different things. I'm not anti meme coins. So all this crypto Twitter thinks we are. I'm anti a policy that says that.
Is this the A16 Zulu guy? It may be that.
You can't do anything in addition to a meme coin, which is the current policy. And I know that because, God knows how much we've spent on lawyers, and our companies have spent on lawyers, and how many conversations I've had that are very frustrating. The
I think this is Chris Dixon.
default has become for most of these projects now to block the US. Like many projects now, they block North Korea, Russia, Iran, and the US. Like,
what he's saying is a good example of that would be something like Undo Finance, right, in the RWA space, and those countries that he's just listed, and US is absolutely correct. I mean, here's Undo hooking up with BlackRock, Franklin Tempo, MakerDAO, for example, hooking up with some heavyweights and partnerships to get their product to the space, institutional stuff, credit investor, institutional, whatever. But the US is in the same group as North Korea. It's in the same group because of the regulators, right?
Like this has become the norm in the space, which is I just think it's absolutely tragic that this is the state of the art in this thing. And or you go offshore, or you build something with like a meme coin with no utility. So I would argue, look, I think that situation is a result of bad policy. And I think, let me be honest, on a happier note, Fit 21 and sort of the various legislation that's approved, I think will fix that. Like it's a really good step forward.
I have said publicly before that I think 99% of all crypto probably goes to zero. But there is that 1% where I think that is focused on solving a real problem for real customers and is able to do that at scale. And that's going to be game changing. And I think that's going to continue to grow significantly in the decades ahead.
So I commented here, of course, the supposed adult in the room doesn't value anyone's comments or opinions if they are in opposition to his own, and then he hides behind cancel culture and Twitter police. So this is something interesting here. It says, I posted this here. I said, if by flipping the script, you mean regulators will do their job and go after scams, of course that will happen. That has nothing to do with a utility token or non-utility token. It can be legal with no utility. Casinos are that very thing. And then I point to what I believe is his issue and Brad Kimes' issue in what I call walking themselves into a corner. Brad Garlinghouse is a CEO with his primary what its primary asset being a utility token. He's not going to veer from his job's message. Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO. He has a job and he has a message. He has a job to do, and his message is because the asset that he holds is a utility token. If it was a non-utility token, his message as CEO of that company would be a different message. Right? Let me read that again. He's not going to veer from his job's message, but his message is not the only viable one in crypto. Understand? There are other messages, right? So just because your message is, look, if there's this thing out here and it doesn't cure all the ills in the world, if there's this thing out here that doesn't have real world utility, then it's not useful. Right? That's what you say when you say 99% of stuff's going to go away. That's his job. That's his job of a company that has as one of its primary assets a utility token. That's the message you're going to go around sharing. But that doesn't mean that that message is the only message that is a viable message in the digital asset space. Doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that at all, right? And I said casinos for a reason, right? Because meme coins in a lot of ways are just like the casino. You know, when you know what you're going and getting into. You know the odds, you know it's gambling, and you know that most likely when you leave, you would have lost your money. 100, 200, 300, 500, 1,000, like, you know, those are meme coins. Casinos operate in this country and other countries every single day. Maybe the use case is entertaining. Maybe the use case is stress release. Maybe the use case is hanging around other people who have the same problem that you have. I don't know. There's a lot of AAAs and a lot of da-da-da kind of do that model. But to say that they're going to go away or they're not useful, or just because the use case of XRP is significantly more important than this use case, right? The use case of the XRPL and the asset XRP is significantly more useful than the casino. Doesn't negate the casino, doesn't remove or take away or diminish the value add that people get from going to a casino. Now, it just happens that the meme coins are smashing NFTs in terms of market cap. It just happens that the meme coins have better odds than the lottery and better odds than most games in casinos. Now, of course, blackjack, you can learn some skills and you can do better. Of course, poker, you can learn some skills and you can do better. But all the other stuff, there's a lot of people making major money from meme coins. You know what they're doing? They're going and buying real estate. They're going and buying whole life policies and leveraging the concept there of death benefits and access to capital. I know this, when the people show up with their meme coin dollars to their bank, the bank doesn't say, hey, were you one of those people who, was early to Pepe? Yeah, we can't take those dollars. They don't say, hey, now, did you get these dollars from crypto? Yes, I did. Okay, was your crypto a utility token? that solves real world problems? Because if it wasn't, we can't take this money. So this is another alarming thing from the supposed adult in the room that I want to cover. Ripple, when the Ripple stablecoin was announced and the anti-XRP army immediately began saying that they don't need XRP. So now we have an anti-XRP army within the XRP army. Brad Garlinghouse saying they have lost the plot was him being a CEO and being generous. He says here, I think the real plot involves staying in the XRP community to attract the views that come with Ripple and XRP and using those views to promote other tokens. So my thing is, the XRP army is massive. So now you're saying that there's an anti-XRP army. So it's not one person or two people or a handful of people. There's an anti-XRP army within the XRP army so that they can promote other tokens. He goes on to say to use those views to promote other tokens, all of which have no legal clarity. This is why they don't leave, but instead try to convince you of all the reasons XRP is bad. What I'll say is, I said this on a stream a day or so ago, a live stream a day or so ago, Brad Kimes and the supposed adult in the room have walked themselves into a corner and have now begun to blame the XRP holders for why they're in the corner. Give you an example of it. Brad Kimes the other day said in his video that the reason why XRP holders are frustrated and asking about the price when it comes to all these NDAs and all these partnerships and all these new things coming out. He says, I don't know what to tell you. It's really because you came up, you, the XRP holder, you came up with a faux date as to when things are going to happen. You did that. It's your fault. It's not the videos and 589 Shane Ellis theories and 589 and flipping of the switch and the world reserve currency and the ledger, the world's ledger. It's not those. It's not you. It's the XRP holder who's listening, who came up now. So this is the newest thing. Came up with a fake, an imaginary date for the flipping of the switch for the 589, for the 589 moment. This is what he said. This is what Kimes said in the video. Now, the supposed adult in the room is saying that there is an anti-XRP army that has infiltrated the XRP army and walks among us to promote other tokens, as though promoting other tokens is a problem. Oh, but wait, those other tokens like Hedera hash graph. Wait a minute. They don't have legal clarity. Those other tokens like XDC, hold on a second. They don't have the legal clarity. So the anti-XRP army is established to promote tokens other than XRP, and they don't have legal clarity. How dare they share XDC? How dare they share and promote Hedera hash graph or DAG Constellation? How dare they? It's the anti-XRP army. It's just using the army to talk about XDC. Just using the army. I mean, R3/4 seems to be okay with XDC. Just using the army to promote Hedera hash graph. Just using the army to promote Flare tokens, FLR, and Songbird. This is what the supposed adult in the room is suggesting. These guys, like I said, have backed themselves into a corner. Well, what corner is that? Well, start a channel as an XRP holder, eventually over some period of time, most likely take a test, and next thing you know, you got Ripple shares. XRP holder, Ripple shares. Then some period of time, you have a sponsor in Link2. You have this sponsorship with Link2, and your job is to promote their number one product. Not number two, not 2 point, not 1A. Their number one product, Ripple. So when someone says Ripple is pivoting away from payments, they didn't grab the market share as they thought. So now when someone, an XRP holder says that, the supposed adult in the room says, that's negative. This all is negativity. Because he backed himself up into a corner where he can't say, how would it look to Link2 if someone spoke the truth and said Ripple invested billions of dollars in cinnamon video and billions of XRP and billions of XRP into coil, and those failed. Thus speaking the truth, but thus throwing shade at Ripple. What's Link2 going to think about that? Right? What's Link2 going to think about that? We're paying you to talk, to speak to the promise of Ripple and all the great things that it's done, right? So a truth that might throw shade, that's unacceptable. So they, the supposed adult in the room, and Brad Kimes, have to say that's negative. You're being negative. It's cancel culture. It's the Twitter police. It's now the anti-XRP army. That's the newest. That's the latest. And won't dare to have a back and forth about anything that they post. Can't deal with conflict. Can't deal with any kind of confrontation and put that at the feet of cancel culture and the Twitter police. This is what those boys are doing. And it's, look, as long as you're not trying to blame the very people who helped to raise you up, cool, go get all your sponsorships, do whatever you want. But when you try to put it on the XRP holder and they're the problem, and all of a sudden now there is an anti-XRP army within the XRP army, then I have a problem with that. And I'm going to speak to it. I'm not going to do like Kimes and like digital asset investors do, who just hide behind stuff and beat around the bush because they can't deal with confrontation. They can't deal with an intelligent back and forth that may end up with, you know what? I just agree to disagree. Or who knows, it might even escalate to blocked, right? Because they can't deal with it. So they just block you. Can't deal with the confrontation under the guise of, oh, that's just negative. No, you walked yourself into a corner. Own up to that. You did that. You put yourself in a position where you have to ignore truths that might look like throwing shade on Ripple. You did that. But don't turn around now and put that on the XRP holder, the community of listeners. Don't turn around and put that on them, and it's their fault. That's unacceptable. And I will not hide behind Twitter police or cancel culture. I'm going to speak my truth. And hopefully one day these guys will do the same and open up the door and stop being scared. How is it that we're going to have one of the premier XRP influencers do a video suggesting that, kind of case is kind of almost over, or this whole focusing, why don't we move on from ETHgate, right? And so Kimes does a video and says, these influencers who say we should walk away or move on from ETHgate, to sit their ass down. Now, I know the influencer who did that video. Respected. Big time value add to the community. Did the video. The reason why I know is because I did a video on his video saying my truth about that, moving on. And I said it in my way. My way was, goodness gracious, we got XRP holders who don't even know when they send their XRP from the Zum wallet to their ledger, don't know that they're on the XRPL, but know about him in emails. Know where Jay Clayton is working and has worked. Know about Bill Hammond, where he used to work and where he didn't work. Know about the 15 million. All of that familiar with, can cite it, but don't know that they're on the XRPL. Perhaps maybe that was the point. I don't want to speak for the dude who made the video about moving on. He can speak for himself. But for Kimes to think that it's okay to tell another XRP holder who happens to be an XRP influencer to sit his ass down is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I'm not even going to get to the other videos of cancer culture assholes, dum-dums, and dipshits that Brad Kimes has put out. I'm not even going to get to those. I'm going to save those for another time. Look, I don't need to defend and stick up and defend anyone. This person who did that video can speak for himself. But I know who Kimes is talking about. And it's unacceptable. Again, you painted yourself. You walked yourself into a corner. And so when people speak the truths, any truth about the digital asset XRP, about the lack of an ecosystem, about the lack of builders, about the truth with Ripple and their failures in investments like Forte not coming to fruition, that's put off as being negative, and that the XRP holder, who has a valued opinion just like anyone else, now they're being negative. And we're going to start not so free freedom zones, so that we don't have to deal with the confrontation and the back and forth. It's unacceptable. I won't use the real word that I want to use, but it's unacceptable. All right, fam. So there it is. This wraps up your XRP Ripple Daily News in, I don't know, around 0 to 10 minutes. I hope that it has been of value to you. And if it has, do me a favor, hit that like button. It's one of the greatest ways to support the channel. And if you've been hanging out, if you're part of that around 50% of the people that have been hanging out, listening to the Crypto Siege, watching the Crypto Siege, and haven't decided to subscribe to the channel, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.